Wicked phantoms, mystery and poltergeists await the Most Haunted team as we travel to Yorkshire.
Oh, look at that, it's moving.
I'm Yvette Fielding, and this week I've brought my team to Yorkshire and a place that is absolutely full of paranormal activity. Welcome to Most Haunted and Nunnington Hall. There's been a house at this location since the early 1200s, and although it had strong connections with royalty, it became a parliamentarian stronghold during the Civil War. Damage wrought by Roundhead soldiers during their stay is still visible in the reading room. In common with many great houses, it fell into disrepair over the centuries, until restoration in the early 1920s brought it to its present glory. What drew the Most Haunted team to investigate were the countless stories of hauntings. It would seem that not one room is without its own ghost or psychic manifestation. Would we be able to bring these spirits to light during our stay? It's because of this history and the many ghost stories that we were asked by the owners to come and do the first paranormal investigation here. What will we unearth? We have 24 hours to find out. The attic is said to be one of the most active places in the house. Many find it the scariest place to go and causes a great deal of trepidation for the staff when they lock up at night. The voices of children have been clearly heard when the rooms are empty, and books have reportedly flown off the shelves and across the room. It has been said that a young unfortunate heir to his late father's estate was imprisoned and possibly murdered up here. So is it his ghost that roams these floorboards, or is it some other entity trying to cross the paranormal divide? It is said that the ghost of an old wicked stepmother passes through the walls of this, the panelled room. Upon entering, many people have reported strange physical reactions, as though they've been bewitched and seeing figures all over this area. Doors slamming are also a common occurrence. One family who owned the property had so many people who had sleepless nights in this room that they stopped using it as a guest bedroom. These sightings were taken so seriously that they refused to talk about the ghosts because people were becoming too frightened to stay. This is the maid's bedroom, and it's thought that the son of a former owner fell to his death from this window. His very distraught mother is thought to pace this room filled with remorse. As well as seeing both these apparitions, people have witnessed the rustling of the mother's skirt and hear her groans along with a young boy's fearful cry. With so much history invested within its walls, our historian Leslie Smith would surely have much to say regarding Nunnington Hall and the chronicles of its ghostly inhabitants.
Nunnington Hall gets its name for a very good reason. It was originally owned by some nuns, of course, in an abbey of St Mary's in York. It first goes into the record in 1249, as early as that. But the building we're in tonight during our investigation mostly dates from the time of Elizabeth I and James I of England and James VI of Scotland. Really, the development of this house carries on through into the Victorian period, but actually, fundamentally, you're looking at the 15th and 16th century. There's a ghost of a lady, some say, who murdered wicked stepmother, you see. Some say this lady murdered her husband's first wife's child to push forward her own son. She is supposed to move from room to room, down the stairs, the rustling of silk. In other rooms, there's laughter and a party, but when you go in, there's complete silence. The Civil War hit it hard. This house stood for Parliament, and the troops were held here as a main encampment. That is to say, the Roundheads were allowed to be here in this house, but they made such a mess of it without any form of gratitude, despite the leanings of the owner. He virtually moved out at that point and built somewhere else. But other owners had been here and loved it. Lords, ladies, maids. Don't forget, in these great houses, don't just get caught up with the idea that the owners would haunt it. Why shouldn't the servants do it as well? And during the course of the night, let the pages fall open, one chapter after another. And as we reach forward and try and read a new story of someone's life, let us hope we find those that have been here before. I promise you this, when you look up the history of Nunnington Hall, you will find there is plenty to tell.
As virtually the whole of Nunnington would appear to be alive with paranormal activity, I was interested to know how parapsychologist Dr. Kieran O'Keefe would prepare himself and the team for the coming investigation, and what we should concentrate on in our bid to uncover the truth behind the many stories we have heard.
Kieran, this is the first time anybody has investigated Nunnington Hall, which is exciting, isn't it?
We are very privileged to be the first team allowed in here to investigate. It does create a slight problem, however, because you know that I'm quite keen for us to try and get the same sort of phenomena that a previous investigation has got. We're just relying on eyewitness testimony, so we're just relying on the stories about various ghosts and various phenomena, but not other investigations. So we are the first, so in essence we're setting a baseline for future investigations, perhaps.
No, we're hearing tapping as we're talking now, but we're just going to keep on talking, aren't we?
Let's carry on going,
okay.
And you know, we can record the sound, listen back to it later on,
okay.
And maybe this is sort of the theme of our investigation this evening, you know, because we have stopped to, and you have asked for the spirits to try and communicate, but they haven't been very forthcoming. They could be shy, and our talking is just covering up for the tapping. And maybe that's the theme of the investigation tonight, constantly covering up to the point where they get louder and louder and may even have to try something else to grab our attention.
It's when you speak.
Yeah. Is it?
Yes, it is.
I find it very interesting. I'll just carry on speaking. I find it very interesting that we're getting this tapping phenomena and we're, in essence, trying to build some sort of narrative around it. So it only seems to be happening when I'm speaking, but also there's this shyness aspect. And I, for one, am finding it very difficult to ignore the narrative that we might be dealing with children who are very shy or who are trying to get attention.
Just another thought. I know our soundman Roger has said that what we've got to try and do, and I know you'll be in agreement with this, is when we do start to hear noises, is for all of us to try and drop our voices and to try and talk at quite a quiet level, yes, so that we can hear them, everybody can hear them at home then.
Yes.
So, just quickly, which bit are you looking forward to most? Which room, which area?
Most definitely the attic area, without a doubt.
Okay, well, we've got lots to look forward to, and let's hope something happens.
Let's hope so.
Joined by medium and psychic artist Brian Shepherd, we prepare to take our first steps into Nunnington Hall. Will we put substance to the plethora of ghostly spirits that supposedly walk its rooms and stairways?
There's something in the room, something that didn't want us to actually enter the room.
These old attic rooms are always creepy up.
This is how they died. This is how he died. He could have been murdered. There's a feeling of suffocation.
Something behind us! Oh, come on! Oh!
The Most Haunted team are in Yorkshire, investigating the fascinating paranormal history of Nunnington Hall, supposedly filled from top to bottom with all kinds of spiritual activity. Brian feels a particular affinity with the drawing room on the first floor, so we begin our customary lit walk around here. What will the coming hours have in store for us?